Morning, good morning, one all present here. I'm Nandhini, working as an assistant professor in SNS College of Engineering in the Department of Computer Science and Technology. Today we are going to see a topic on database management system in normalization, which consists of a third normalization form. It is known as a 3NF, third normalization form. 3NF builds on 2NF by requiring that each non-primary key column in a table is not transparent dependent on the primary key, which defines that 3NF. 3 normalization builds on 2NF. In 2NF, what we have seen is 2NF has been built on 3NF. But here a 3NF built on 2NF. It is also known as a non-primary key, which is transparently dependent on the primary key. This means that a table should not have a transparent dependencies where a non-primary key column depends on the another non-primary key column. Next one is an example of 3 normalization form. To explain the 3 normalization form further, let's consider an example of a table that lists the customer order. For example, there are been list of things given here: order ID, customer name, customer city, order date, and order total. For example, ID differs for all the three as 1, 2, 3. Customer ID also differs with 100, 101, and 102. Customer name differs with John Smith, Jan John, and Bob Johnson. And the customer city is differentiated with the New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. The order items been differ by 2022 01 is a common for all the three orders. At the last is defined by 01, 02, and 03, and the order total is represented with the help of 100 rupees, 200 rupees, and 300 rupees. And this three normalization form is denoted with an example of a non-primary key, that the customer city is transparently dependent on the primary key. That is, it depends on n customer ID, which is not a part of the primary key. Instead of depending directly on the primary key order ID, to bring this table to 3NF, we can split it into two tables. It is used to split into two tables, and three normalization form is split into a first table is split into table 1 is split into customer ID, customer name, and customer city. In the customer ID is represented with 100, 101, 102. The customer name is John Smith, Jane Doe's, and Bob Johnson. City name is considered with the New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. Table 2 consists of orders. In order ID, customer ID, order name, and order total. Which order ID differs with 1, 2, 3. Customer ID differs with 100, 101, 102, and the order date differs with 2002 to 0101, 2022 0102, 2022 0103. And the total of amount will be considered with the 100 rupees, 200 rupees, and 300 rupees. This three normalization form considered with the customer city. This column is no longer transparently dependent because it's on the primary key and is instantly not a separate table that has a direct relationship. This is known as a primary key. This makes the table of 3NF complement with another normalization forms. This customer ID denotes that, for example, ordering an ID, which brings this John Smith consists of a customer ID 100, and he is living in a New York City. And second one is 101 ID consists of Jane John and lives in Los Angeles. And the Bob Johnson is customer ID 102, and he the city in San Francisco. And the order ID is considered with the 1, 2, and 3, and the customer ID is denoted with 100, 101, 102. The dates have been given like this. This three normalization form depends upon the two normalization form, which has a transparent, not transparently dependent primary key. For example, this means that the table should have a transparent dependency. Primary and non-primary key or columns must not have any other non-primary key columns, because these non-primary key columns have much more dependencies related within two normalization form. Because this two normalization form is dependent upon one normalization form, this three normalization forms depend upon two normalization form with the help of non-primary keys. And this dependency in the given table, a customer city is represented a transitively dependent on a primary key, depends on a customer ID, which is not a part of the primary key. Instead of depending directly on the primary key order ID, to bring this table to normalization, we split the table into two. These tables have been explained below, and these dependency denote that the relationship is a direct relationship with the primary key, and primary key has a transparent dependency with no longer values, and makes the table of 3NF a complement one, which is most complement one to use in this chapter, considered with 1NF, 2NF and 3NF. 3NF is a complement one. Thank you so much for